Welcome back. We're going to take a look at 11-4, which is more work with inequalities, but this time we're going to use multiplication and division with inequalities. You solve just like equalities with one exception for multiplication and division. If you multiply or divide both sides by a negative value, you must flip the sign. Examples. 3x is greater than 12. I need to isolate the x, so I divide both sides or all terms by 3. I get x is greater than 4. Perfect. 3 was not a negative value. I did not need to flip the sign. Open circle at 4, shade to the right. Example. X divided by 4 is less than or equal to 2. So here I'm looking at needing to isolate x. How do I get rid of a denominator? I multiply both sides by the denominator, by 4. X is less than or equal to 8. I did not multiply by a negative value. I do not need to flip the sign. I have x on the left, solid circle at 8, shade to the left. So far, simple. 15 is less than 5x. Okay, I need to isolate x. I divide both sides by 5. 3 is less than x. We learned in the last video, which was 1-9, how to use addition and subtraction and how to graph an inequality. We know that if the variable is on the right, you need to move it to the left. And when you do that, you flip the sign. So 3 is less than x means x is greater than 3. X is greater than 3. I flip the x and the 3 and I flip the sign. Now I can graph. I put an open circle at 3 and I shade to the right. If your coefficient of x was negative, that means that you're going to multiply or divide both sides by a negative value, and you will need to flip the sign. So I take a look at this one, and I see that I have negative 3x is greater than 12. I divide both sides or all terms by negative 3. That means I must flip the sign. So you see that I have come down and I have taken that greater than sign and I have flipped it and made it a less than sign. So x is less than negative 4. Open circle at negative 4, shade left. X is divided by negative 2. Same thing. I have a negative 2 in the denominator. How do you get rid of the denominator? You multiply both sides by negative 2 and flip the sign. I suggest you flip that sign immediately so that you don't forget it. You multiply by negative 2 and you flip the sign. Continue solving it. The negative 2's cancel each other. I am left with x is less than or equal to negative 12. I didn't graph it, but it would be a solid circle at negative 12, shade to the left. This rule is for multiplication and division, not addition and subtraction. So again, if you are doing addition or subtraction, you do not flip the sign. Just because I subtract 4 from both sides does not mean I flip the sign. Here, however, I divided both sides by negative 4. That's different. Division and multiplication say you must flip the sign. Divide both sides by negative 4 and flip the sign. I have divided by a positive value. There is no negative. Do not flip the sign. Here, I again divided by a positive value, and just because that negative 20 was there, The negative 20 doesn't count. The negative 20 is a constant. It stayed. I didn't divide by negative 20. I didn't multiply by negative 20. So you do not flip the sign. It's only when the value you're multiplying by or dividing by is negative. That's it for multiplication and division with inequalities. It's actually very easy. Just remember the rule. If you multiply or divide by a negative value, you must flip the inequality sign. Good luck.